In this last video, I want to give you a real quick insight into how things look from a front desk side and for students using the kiosk. So on anybody's page, this is Katrina Schmidt that I'm impersonating again. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page and click this button, Additional Modes, and go to Appointment Center or Kiosk. We're going to look at Appointment Center first. Each of you all should only be able to see the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships or Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships and Introduction as a location. Right now, there's no active availability, including today's date at the Introduction location, which is why it doesn't show here while this one does. So we would click this location, and you'll see it's on today's date, which you can easily change if you are making a future appointment, which I don't think you all will be. The care unit you don't have to change. You can select services, you can zone in by staff, but right now there's really only my actual account here, Megan Flanagan and Katrina Schmidt. You can see Katrina on this white sidebar has drop in all day, and then the white here means there's availability for an appointment. So Katrina is available from 11 a.m. until 1 for appointments, whereas I, in mine, am available 8 to 5. Again, it's important to make sure your Outlook calendar is synced and to create blocks for things like lunch, for travel time, for any appointments that you may not have had to block travel time for, to make sure that you don't have students or availability that ends up not being actually available. My understanding, again, is that this would be primarily peer staff or student staff that would be creating appointment availability, but I wanted you all to see what it looks like. So when a student comes up to the front desk, maybe for a quick assessment of whether they should check in at the kiosk, or they just need to turn in paperwork, or they need to make an appointment with a peer, the first thing that a staff member would do is type in their 95 number. I don't have the 95 number of a student here, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and use our prospective student account. And then I'm going to go ahead and click, if I'm going to add that student to the drop-in queue, you would choose a staff organizer. Now this doesn't look like an option because it has the same weird lines as this, but you're actually always going to choose this first available staff, never the person's name. You'd click that, and then you'd choose a service. The great thing about if it's coming from the front desk, particularly if it is actually a prospective student or a parent, is you can add comments. So you can include the student's name, whether or not they have ID, whether it's a parent, what they're hoping to talk about. We typically recommend that you get that and also a callback phone number. So John Smith, parent, I can't spell today, parent of Michael Ayers, is here to speak about Parent Plus loans as part of Michael's plan. Fun fact, that's my dad's name, Michael Ayers. So there's that. And then callback number, just in case maybe John can't wait for you all. I also intentionally made the last names different because we know that comes up in a lot of circumstances. So this way you're giving as much information as you can, and you're still going to add them to the staff queue. But what changes, the staff would see that comment. When a student checks in via the kiosk, there's no comments. Now let's say maybe the same prospective student, because I don't have very many, the prospective student wants to schedule an appointment. That would go down here on this scheduling grid, and you would actually just click an appointment time. So this is maybe we're pretending a different prospective student now. It really is a prospective student. So let's click this piece here. You just click the time that you want. You can edit the time, the date, the length. You select a service. And these are going to be the services that are listed for appointments only. So locating scholarships, creating a budget, FAFSA, loan repayment, and credit. So it's probably not super typical that you would have prospective students coming in for some of these things, but maybe the FAFSA or scholarship opportunities. So let's say FAFSA. And in this case, let's say Angela Jones is here to discuss some questions about completing their FAFSA. And then call back again, just in case Angela needs to walk away. I always like to use the Hollywood 555 area code. And 555. Whoa, I'm just going on adding numbers there. And then the student would actually get an email. At this point, if you're checking in a student for an immediate appointment, which is my understanding you would be, is you could simultaneously create the appointment. So let's say you actually make it for noon, because that's coming up soon here. Maybe it's not a 30-minute appointment, maybe it's 10 minutes, that might be more. You might not need to send an email to the student or a text reminder, but maybe you want to send an email to the actual staff member it's going to be with, and then you would create that appointment. It shows up on the students and it shows up on the staff member's information. So if you go here to this scheduling grid, you can see the scheduled appointments, and then if you go to the drop-in grid, you can see that drop-in list. You can see all those students, and then at the bottom, the perspective. Just so you know, I'm not going to be making those public to anyone else, so those 95 numbers are protected in this video. So please don't share those with anyone that's not FERPA trained. And then on the scheduled appointments, you can only see actual scheduled appointments for the day. So in this case, it's that prospective student. Finally, what a student would actually see if they're directed to the kiosk. So they would go to this kiosk mode. Someone would set this up each day. Likely a front desk student or staff member would set it up. They would select your location, either financial aid and scholarships or introduction. So let's do, sorry, I made that larger and then it made us go away from where we were. So let's do the just main office here. And you would want to offer all services. So a student would need to input their 95 number or other information here, or swipe a card if you get a card swiper, and when they hit submit, they would then be able to move on. Let me go ahead and I'm going to pull a 95 number that I can go ahead and do something with. I'm going to get one of my prospective students if I can. The system's not going to be kind to me, is it? All right. So here's another one of my prospective students. I'm going to input their primary ID. Obviously, this is not what you'd see. Theirs is not a 95 number, but you would hit submit after the student keys in their number. And then they would check in for whatever reason they feel is appropriate. Let's say they want to talk about why their aid hasn't credited. Now it says, okay, got it. And it'll log that student out. It goes back to this main screen again for the next student for drop-in. In the meantime, they show up on that drop-in queue at the very bottom, their prospective student 2. So that's how the different things work, the appointment center and the drop-in queue. You'll be able to see right here, this is my homepage, so I scheduled that prospective student with me. So if I go to my appointment queue, you can see there's that scheduled appointment. And again, you would click on this radio button and you would click this check out for those. This is for your peers. And then this is those new students here in the drop-in queue. All right, best of luck. We're so excited to have you on the system. Always feel free to reach out to me or to any of the Navigate team if you have any questions or concerns that come up.